for some screaming heavy metal? We rock!
But the evil that men do lives on.
We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to the Music Mania podcast, a hard-hitting show featuring all things hard rock and heavy metal. And now here are your hosts, the Twins of Chaos, Clint Switzer and Paul Lagana.
And it is our pleasure at this time here on the Music Mania podcast to welcome the Sunset Strip legend, the greatest metal DJ in my opinion of all time. It's metal DJ William Howell. Welcome to the show, DJ Will. What's up, man? How's everything going?
Oh, everything is doing good. I can't go. You really can't go wrong with an introduction like that. Thank you, Clint.
Well, here I am in Kansas City, Missouri. If you go to a club here, you're definitely not hearing Wasp and Motorhead like you are at the Rainbow when you're up there on a DJ. And man, so I'll tell you that's where that comes from. Because I tell you, I was at the Rainbow just a couple months ago, and I walk in. And I get a Jack and Coke because that's what Lemmy would have wanted, and he had just died a few days ago. And this dude's blaring music, and you're playing Wasp, playing Motorhead, everything's going great. And I'm like, I tell my buddy, like, that's DJ Will, that's William Howell. And I drunkenly talked myself out of it, like, no, it isn't. It's not him. I don't think he works at the Rainbow. I'm not going to go up there. So I missed my chance to actually say hello in person.
Well, this opportunity has now come full circle because now we're speaking, and it's all good. The one thing I will say. Working at the Rainbow has been a pleasure, and it's important to just sort of mix it up there because anyone can play the classic rock stuff on a regular basis because every town's got a classic rock station or a jukebox at your local watering hole. So that's the whole purpose of mixing it up. So
and it is a different experience, I mean, you've been in LA a long time, and the Rainbow's is a staple on the Sunset Strip, and a lot of people just they go in there, they know what they're going to get. It's one of the best rock bars on the planet. Not so much the case here in Kansas City or in the Midwest or a lot of other places. You can't just go in and hear that type of stuff. It was a totally different environment. Loved it. It was my first time on the Strip that time, and it was the night before Motley Crue's last concert, which I think we talked earlier. You somehow weaseled your way into that concert too, for free or for nothing or for cheap. How did you manage that one?
Well, the interesting thing with the two Motley Crue shows at Staples, they had played 3 shows. The 3 final shows were obviously in California. Everyone was thinking that they were going to wind up at the Whiskey A Go-Go on the Sunset Strip, kind of where they started, which would have been nice, which would have been ideal, but it would have been a complete nightmare for the West Hollywood sheriffs with parking, insurance, and everything else. But ideally, if you're going to do your final shows in Los Angeles, do them at a place where everyone can see. Now, the thing with Staples is that's where the Kings and where the Lakers play. This is a pretty big arena. Now, based on it being the final show, everyone's thinking, well, I'm gonna sell these tickets for top dollar, and I'm gonna get top dollar for them, so on and so forth. But as they got closer, the reviews on the Motley Crue tour were kind of mixed.
Right.
Everyone kind of knows what they're going to get, with Vince Neil's performance, this and that. But as it got closer, the ticket prices started to dip lower and lower. So I knew I was going to spend New Year's there no matter what, but I didn't have $400 or $500 to do the front row or the floor thing. So come the day of the show, I look on StubHub and I look up on another site. Turns out I got the tickets. And I could have weaseled my way in and dropped some names, this and that, going that route. But you know what? I'm going to actually buy a ticket and do this. Turns out, the day of the show, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, found a ticket for $15.
You've got to be kidding me.
That's $5 more than what the ticket was for Guns N' Roses, but 4 or 5 days ago, the Troubadour for their launch. But that's another topic. But
right.
$15 ticket. I ended up getting it, paid it, went down there, got it scanned, and yeah, it was up for the nosebleeds. But as it turns out, I know a lot of people that were in suites, that were in lower sections, and it wasn't sold out. Now, it was the last show. Everyone's saying allegedly, but at Motley Crue at Staples, New Year's, it wasn't sold out. It really wasn't. It was packed, but it wasn't completely sold out. So I ended up walking down, getting a little closer, hanging out. A friend is at a suite. watched the whole show from there, the confetti, the whole thing, Tommy Lee's drum riser malfunctioning, the drum solo malfunctioning, everything was a great experience, but it was an experience that was cost-effective and not front row of price. So
Certainly.
I'll never forget that.
It was not cost-effective for me, however, coming from Kansas City, Missouri to see that final show, and we, my buddy and I came out, we went to the Rose Bowl, and I think, I've seen a lot of posts on Metal Sludge and other places and you were there, you might agree, it didn't feel like the final Motley Crue show, it didn't feel like this was the final Motley Crue show that I was witnessing. It felt like, I saw him maybe 3 or 4 times on that farewell tour. It just kind of felt like that, and it was over. It just kind of, what you envision Motley Crue, just get in your separate vehicles, drive away, and goodbye. Like it didn't feel like some gala spectacle event to me or something. Would you agree with that?
In some aspects, but see, I know on the flip side, all of them have other projects.
Of course.
Mickey, of course. Mickey Six has 6 a.m. Mick Mars is going to be doing a project with John Corabi, and Tommy Lee may get back into the EDM stuff that he likes so much, and Vince Neil will still continue to do different projects. He'll be doing solo dates. That's not going to stop. So they all have projects outside of Motley Crue, but your gut instinct says there wasn't that finality there. I say if they're going to honor this alleged final in contract that they all signed, so be it. But there may come a time, 3, 4, 5 years from now, if they're all healthy, if they're all functional, that they may do a special show for, say, a special friend or a special occasion. So
sure.
I would say don't rule that out, or don't rule out an appearance at some big rock festival in Europe. Or something to that extent. But it would have to be significant enough for them to say, okay, well, we said we're going to stop performing as Motley Crue, but we could still make an appearance somewhere else. So the jury's still out.
Well, and I want to get into you and your career a little bit, because I mean you've been around so long, and you're just such a respected personality out there in LA, and somebody that dealing in this type of music. And I remember the first time I was ever familiar with you was from the website Metal Sludge, which we've mentioned. If those listening that don't know what I'm talking about, Metal Sludge, of course, ran by tough Stevie Rochelle, and the message board, the world famous message board that it's I don't know something between a cesspool of insanity and chaos, and a wonderful a wonderful place to find actual metal news. I don't know, it's somewhere in between those things, but that's when I first became familiar with you, and you were like a sane and rational poster, and so what was kind of your introduction to Metal Sludge? And I don't know how well you know Stevie or not, but how did it all kind of start with you and that website?
Well, me coming across Metal Sludge, there was this shroud of anonymity when it first started, because you would find things, there was like the penis chart, and there was a lot of things posted about Janie Lane, the Warrant, and all these other different bands, and a lot of it was factual information that would later wind up to be true. You'd hear these rumors and posts, and it's like, wow, these insiders really know what's going on there, and as it turns out, it's still the case today. The website's gone through a lot of different changes over the years, but the last 10 plus years, outside of the Metal Sludge extravaganza shows that they do locally, a lot of times you find news there that will appear there first before, hell,
yep.
Blabbermouth,
yeah,
or Braveheart, in some instances, most legit news sources. It's just that some people prefer to post anonymously, and that's fine. But when the news becomes reality, then it's like, okay, well, let me pay more attention to this crazy site. But it's very entertaining. Plus, there's actual stories on there that have different writers that contribute. So it is fascinating how it has so it has legs after all these years.
Well, you personally, I mean, like I said, you've been around so long, you've done so many things, and I remember once I kind of saw who you were from the site, I would just see you pop up and a million things. Like I'm watching like Anvil, the story of Anvil. I was like, that's that Will guy. That's him. He's in that and he's narrating. And you done some other thing. I mean, KNAC. You've DJ'd the Monsters of Rock Cruises, that metal show. I mean, all these things. And just, I mean, what is it like for you being able to live this? I imagine it's a dream for you, and I'd like to get into to sort of what led you into this path, kind of as an upbringing, or how you wound up in this metal path, and what it's like today to kind of live that out.
Well, for me, it's been an interesting journey in the context of my upbringing to what led me to get into the music business side of things, because just growing up out here, I was immersed in music with the clubs, the bands, the shows. I would go to shows that were 21 and over. I would sneak in often cases. So my passion for that was just led into. It was around me all the time, especially in school. Marking up our PG folders and come to the class the next day after a concert. You're wearing the T-shirt, and we're sharing thoughts and comments, and taking long trips on buses, and whatever it took to get to the show, to have that experience, to actually see the bands that we grew up listening to, worshiping. That was part of the allure of it. And then I gradually got into trading live tapes to people overseas, and also in America. And that's kind of how my foray into this world really started. Live tapes, soundboard tapes, and just trading, and just hearing about bands from all over the world, and then eventually coming across, different fanzines, and didn't really hear a lot of this on the radio.
Sure.
So it was all about the underground. And then fast forward to like the mid 80s, like 84, 85, that led into a job at Metal Blade Records. Basically, Brian Slagle, who I still really owe my career to in terms of getting things started, he brought me in because I bugged him so much at all the shows that he was at. All the bands that he had on the label, I was always there. And that was a big proponent of how my job starting there began, because Brian just said, "Hey, you want to just have a job? Just come in and listen to all the demo tapes that we get sent on a regular basis." And that's really how it started. I became listening to the demo tapes, which we call it GN'R now.
Sure.
Or in some cases, ashtray and restroom, where most of the tapes wind up. Some of the A&R reps would do later on in life. But the bottom line is, that's how it started. Then college radio, and all the promotions and this and that. So wearing many different hats at an independent label, and that was a great experience. I mean, and it really boiled down to the live music experience. It's one thing to, buy a cassette, buy a 45, buy a record, but then to eventually you absorb all those songs. You read the lyrics. You that whole experience of opening up, the old gatefold albums and all that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that's gone now. That allure is kind of gone. But back then, obviously, it was a very big deal. And then to see the band live, there's nothing like it. And it kind of still isn't, although it's the dynamics have changed these days.
That's funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask you that exact question, is what has the concert experience changed for you? You've been to so many shows, I imagine just hundreds and hundreds and thousands probably of shows, and does it change for you? I mean, it's hard to replicate that experience as a 16-year-old seeing Ozzy at the Forum or something for the first time, but and later in life, do you still get that feeling that you did? I mean, has it changed so much for you that you're kind of far removed from that?
Well, there's a little bit of, as you get older, you get a little more jaded. The bands that you still like to see perform live, that are still viable, that are still out there busting their ass, from RV and vans and this and that, go from town to town. Hey, if there's a chance that they're coming to town, I'll do my best to go see them live, because there's gonna come that time where it's going to end.
Yeah.
They're going to retire, or it's going to be a health thing, or it's going to be a family matter that the band is going to cease and desist. So, case in point, right off the top of my head, Black Sabbath.
Yep.
Potentially September might really be their last show this time where they actually mean it. Tony's going through some health issues. The whole drama with Bill Ward not being part of the lineup. What's done is done, but they may actually shut it down. So,
yeah.
And the whole drama with AC/DC going on, which no one can really get a clear, picture on that. Are they really showing Brian Johnson the door after 30-plus years of, being the successor to Bon Scott? I mean, really, is this how this is going to go down? Because you're not going to allow him to heal up and join the band again? You're going to find some young gun, or I don't know. That's again, eventually all this is going to go away, and that's where I'm like, take the time, sit back, and enjoy these bands while they can still deliver, while they can still sing, while they can still play guitar, while they can still play drums, and give you an actual performance. Now, if you're going to be a purist and say, well, they only have one or two original members, so be it. But the fact is, you're still hearing those songs that you grew up listening to. You're still hearing those songs that you heard on the radio, so on and so forth. So it's about the live performance that I hold in high regard. There's good shows, there's bad shows, but it's the live performance that, God bless them all.
I could not agree with you more, and you hear a lot of the antithesis of that, which is, like you said, the people that I saw Van Halen in 1977. I don't want to ruin that image, and I don't. It's maybe because I'm younger. I'm only 32. I grew up with this music, but I obviously wasn't old enough to go see Motley Crue on the Motley Crue Aussie tour in '84. I was born in '84, so for me, I held that especially high in regard to see these shows while you can, and I think I echo that sentiment 100% because I feel like literally, and especially since 2016, look at the bands you've lost. Motley Crue's played their final show or supposed tour or whatever. Lemmy has died. Motorhead's done. Rush has supposedly retired. I might have seen AC/DC's last show with Brian Johnson in Kansas City a month ago. There's David Bowie has died. I mean, and Jimmy Bain. Yeah. It's just like it's been a surreal time, and it's just like in 10 years, I literally don't know what I'm going to do with my free time. And I'm sure you're kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and as we were talking now, we were talking now with each other. Merle Haggard just passed away.
Yeah,
who comes from a different cloth, but he was very influential with what he's done in his career. So it's the father time, the mortality factor, coming through, and just sort of giving that reminder. It's like, okay, there is an end date here, but in the meantime, while we're trying to enjoy life, things that we do enjoy when it comes to music, it's like, the clock is ticking.
Well, and you've been instrumental in signing bands in your career. I mean, you've even signed bands off the radar. I believe you were involved even with like Goo Goo Dolls and Butthole Surfers, and you've been involved in getting these bands into the limelight. And so you'd be as good a person to ask this as any, but I sound like an old guy. I'm not that old, but I like this old music. But what's going to come down the pike to ever replace this? You've been in this area. You've talent. You've sifted through probably thousands of demos in your life. How do we ever get back on track and to ever replicate what we have with these bands that are all going to be retiring?
That is a real good question. I mean, as music is very cyclical. The influences will be there. The influences are there now with a lot of these newer bands, newer modern rock bands. But 5-10 years from now, it's a tough sell. Where are the arena rock bands going to come from? That I could not tell you. Because while this could be a case of, you damn kids, get off my lawn.
Exactly. That's what I feel like.
I'm of the frame of mind that what's popular now, will it still be happening, 5-10 years from now? And what style? I mean, will it be rock? Will it be metal? Hard to say. A lot of the bands that are out there touring, making a name for themselves, will they be around for the long run? The rehearsals, the scheduling, the touring, and this and that. Will they have a fan base? How will we get our music? Will it still be downloads? What will replace downloading as far as a way to get the music? So these are questions that I couldn't even attempt to even answer. I mean, whatever new technology comes along, it'll be interesting to see what that is. As to how we get our music and what band, then how we get exposed to bands. Yes, there's websites, there's social media, but is that enough? Will that be enough? Hard to say.
Sure. And do you feel like in any way that in the fast-paced society, downloads and American Idol and getting famous and off a YouTube video, that maybe one thing about it is that bands just do not have that kind of seasoning? I mean, you're from LA, like, think about the bands that just toiled up and down that strip and played hundreds and hundreds of shows and never got a sniff of a record deal, or a band like Twisted Sister that played clubs for 10 years before ever finally getting any notoriety whatsoever. I mean, these bands just don't have seasoning. They don't have the dues paying. Is that part of it?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. It's sort of that quick buck mentality where I don't know. I don't see a lot of artist development going on. I see saying that things come prepackaged, where we can do everything from ringtones to we have the singles already out and this and that. It just seems to be let's not look long term. Let's strike fast while it's hot, while we have a name out there. You know, one of these reality shows, and it's just not the way to make a career. I mean, there's exceptions to that rule, but man, it's that fast, that quick strike mentality that I'm not a fan of.
Absolutely. And
the days of going to see a band in a rehearsal hall and see them work out some songs and give them a demo deal and at least build them up as far as allow them time to breathe, allow them time to sort of collect themselves and build a fan base. It's just like, well, no, we gotta just quick. I can't buy into that.
Sure.
And that's something that kind of goes on that I see anyway.
Well, before we give you our final 3 drum roll question, I've got to ask you, because I sent it to you and I want to talk to you about it because you would be in the know as much as anyone and someone an opinion that I value on this. It's been brought up. We talked last week with Jason McMaster and about this topic from Dangerous Toys, and he, as we were talking about Guns N' Roses, talking about this reunion, quote unquote, whatever you want to call this thing. Jason McMaster just said, as a ticket buyer, I'm not buying this. I'm not in on it. Obviously, you're in LA. You were part of it. You saw what the Troubadour situation from last week, the craziness that probably unfolded at Tower Records before that. First off, did you get to, I'd be shocked if you didn't somehow get into that show, and if not, then what do you think about this whole thing? They're doing stadiums. Arrowhead Stadium here in Kansas City, 80,000 people. I don't know what to think. I think it's a bit ambitious.
Well, I will say this, with Guns N' Roses, I will just say this. I know a lot of folks from the Guns N' Roses camp, so we will tread lightly on any answers I give you. But they're all really great. And if you have an opportunity to see GN'R, go see them. Yeah, are the ticket prices a little high? Yeah, but they're getting a big guarantee per show. They're getting at least 3/5 the original lineup, and it's like this. It took a while for this to all come together. Now that it's here, it is what it is, because who knows how long it'll last.
Yes, which is why I bought tickets on a pre-sale this morning. So I'm definitely a part of the ticket buying public that will be going. I have seen Guns N' Roses minus just with the Axl version in the last few years, but this will be a new opportunity. And stadiums are an event. I mean, I know there's not an LA show planned right now, but outside of Coachella in California, but I think that'll happen. And it's an event, and it's something that I feel like I need to do, and so I will definitely be there on board for that, regardless of if it's Frank Ferrer or Steven Adler on drums. Is that a huge deal to me? It's just not. It is to some people. It was to Jason McMaster, but kind of that's where we said I'm gonna be there and cheering it on and stuff. You'll have an NFL team to cheer for now out there in LA anyway, so you're good.
Well, funny that you brought that up. And also, real quick, Jason McMaster, he's a longtime dear friend. even prior to the days with Dangerous Toys, we go back to Watchtower days, and I'm a big fan of Jason. So I kind of see where he's going with that, but at the same time, it's like, I'll go, but I won't be that person front row. It's just
you'll probably get in. You'll probably get in for $15, so you probably will wind up front row for $15 anyway.
I'll work my MacGyver magic. And to your comment about we'll have a football team. Well, after 21 years, we'll have a team that's returning to Los Angeles.
Right.
This is not a new team. So for you folks in St. Louis that are not real thrilled about the move, it's a money thing with the owner, with Stan Kroenke. So it is what it is. My concern is, all I care about is the traffic, because this is a town, I love it here, but it's a fair weather town. We got the Dodgers, we got the Angels, we got the Kings, we got the Ducks, we got soccer, and we have arena football. But if there's not a winning product on the field, people aren't going to show up.
Nope.
We got Magic Mountain, we got Dixieland, we have the beaches. Did I mention we have beaches and great weather? So we have a lot of things for the family to do. So whatever the Los Angeles Rams decide to do come September, October, I tell you what, I'm not even a Rams fan. I'm a Panthers fan.
Yep.
So I only care about when they play Carolina. So that's the only day that I'm only concerned about. So,
well, as a Chiefs fan, good riddance to the Rams. As a Chiefs fan, they're across the state and never really garnished much attention. So no need to really to think twice about them. It will be a different experience out in LA. And of course, I grew up with the LA Rams out there and playing at Anaheim Stadium. Of course, they're going to build a multi-billion-dollar stadium out there. But I tell you what, we got to give you our final three drum roll. Three quick questions. Whatever comes to mind, you just give us the answer, and then we will definitely be saying goodbye to you. Unfortunately, because I'd like to talk to you about music for the rest of the night. But I'll tell you what, final three quick drum roll. You've done hundreds of interviews in your time. What is your favorite interview you've ever done as a radio DJ?
As a radio DJ, Doro Pesh.
Good. Wow. That's awesome. Why's that?
Not only does she not give you yes or no answers, she's very passionate about what she's been doing for the last 30 years, and she's serious about it, and she means well. There's no act. She is the real deal from her Warlock days until her solo career since like 1990, and she's still going strong. But man, when you get an interview with her, she gives you energy over the phone, and you can feel it. It's very sincere, and you can take it. But with her, she's to quote the Michael Monroe album, she's not faking it.
Well, my crush on her just went amplified by about 500, so that's perfect. Next question. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen happen on the Sunset Strip?
Craziest thing I've ever seen? It would have to be something with Roxy or the Rainbow. Wow, that's a good one.
I know I popped that one on you.
I'm about to scale this one down. Something happened. There was a video shoot for Dawkins. They did a flatbed. I know there's other stories, but the first thing that comes to mind, Dawkins filmed a video. They were on a flatbed truck going down Sunset Boulevard, and outside the Roxy and the Rainbow, something happened up the street. Some guy who was going to this video shoot either got out of his car, not in a clown suit, but he got out dressed inappropriately, and he tried to get into the video shoot, and all I remember is him being hauled away by security. But as he was being hauled away, he said, "Long live rock and roll!" And he shouted that, and I don't know, it was a quick thing that I'm just like, what's going on here? So I think the security thought maybe he was going to be part of this, but no, it was a weird thing. But
the story I was picturing involved like transvestite fights and like whips and metal chains and hookers and blow. I just had this whole other image, but I think that was the Just Got Lucky video, if I remember right. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. That's it. I was around it for that. that particular thing happened. But what you just mentioned, that's a daily occurrence. This is Los Angeles. Nothing almost phases me anymore.
You know what's funny
we accept everybody.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, that's what's great. Like, and then the hilarious thing about it is the Sunset Strip totally lived up to my image. I loved. After that Motley Crue show, the next night, LA Guns played at the Whiskey, and we stayed around for that. It was awesome, and just like getting to go to that venue and see LA Guns and Faster Pussycat. And I always had this image of like the club shut down and like people just take to the streets and it's craziness and there's hookers and I could just shell out $200 and have a date. But there was one thing missing. There was nowhere to eat. There's not an In-N-Out burger. There is nothing but some weird gas stations across the street from the Whiskey. And if you want to eat after 2 a.m., after 1:30 a.m., you're done. You're not eating. You better get a cab ride to the next In-N-Out burger.
Yeah, that's true. Because once we call last call after the Rainbow, after 2 o'clock, the kitchen's closed, and it was time to move on. Gil Turner's is closed, so you definitely have to go to that gas station and get your Kit Kat or your Fun. Your energy drinks and all that stuff. Yeah,
it was the best little can of Pringles I ever had. But Will, final question for you, man, and it's been such a pleasure. But of all the things you've accomplished, KNAC DJ, I mean, that metal show, being a part of documentaries behind the musics, what is one thing that you would still like to accomplish in the music business?
Oh, wow. Well, I feel like we've accomplished quite a bit just in the context of just continuing to spread the gospel when I'm promoting or when I'm doing my show, when I have guests on a daily basis. I'm always about promoting rock and heavy metal. It's what I love the most, and just keeping the awareness out there because, again, as I said earlier, music is very cyclical, and while a lot of this is not going to go away anytime soon, it's still thriving. It thrives overseas. There's music festivals. We're still doing Monster of the Rock cruises, and the fact that I'm a part of that is a big deal to me. And I just want to continue to be able to do that and keep the same level of intensity of interest, of enthusiasm, and love of the music. I don't want to ever hate it. I don't want to step away and say, I can't take it anymore, I'm done. I've kind of pushed all my chips to the center of the table, and I don't want to lose that love of the music. And that would be really that. But as long as all these different outlets are out there for these bands to do their thing, and for me, to have an outlet to do my show, going on 15 years now, hopefully there's not, there's no, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Well, Will, I'll tell you what, you are a true blood brother, and I can't wait to next time I'm at the Rainbow. I am going to say hello because that's still a low moment for me. So, hey, man, cannot thank you enough for the time, talking music with you. Love to just catch up next time I'm in LA, man, and just hit a show, talk some music, and then go over to that gas station and get some Pringles after a show at the Whiskey or something.
Well, you can do that, but just make sure you come upstairs before last call. Get yourself some stuffed mushrooms, our famous Rainbow Pizza, and come hear a tune or two. And hey, real quick, if you don't mind, I might want to throw this in there.
Of course.
Lemmy passed in December. We recently lost another family member of the Rainbow Bar and Grill. He's been there since day one. Chef Miguel. And we're going to have services for him coming up another week or two. So we wanted to give him and his family a shout-out because his sons work there. And he basically puts his stamp on everything that makes the Rainbow world famous. And, he passed away recently and wanted to give him a proper shout-out.
Absolutely. Glad you brought that up because I got to meet so many people, so many wonderful staff members there. It's my favorite bar I've ever been to, favorite venue and I've ever been to in my life. Like, it was just the greatest night. So glad you brought that up because, I was there just a couple days after Lemmy died. I was there when you did the big toast, man. We did the big toast all together for Lemmy, and I was there just about 10 feet sheet from you, and but what a great staff, great venue, man. My friend and I still talk about it to this day. I'm glad you brought that up, and many more happy nights at the Rainbow to come, and we encourage everyone to go check out you, DJ William Howell at the Rainbow. Great stuff, man. We will catch up soon. Thanks so much for the time. I know I kept you longer than I had anticipated, and I'm so glad I did, but I hope we didn't tread on you too much here. Thank you so much, Will, and we'll catch up soon, my man.
You got it, Clint. Keep the metal.
You betcha, man. Always. Thank you.
All right.